The Martian, Ridley Scott's latest, brings together a stellar and extended cast to tell the story of Mark Watney, a botanist slash astronaut slash man of science who inadvertently gets stranded on Mars. And that's not great because Mars is really far away. If I was to look out my window right now, I bet I couldn't find it. Hang on. No, I can't see shit. Okay, so with Matt Damon's Watney becoming literally the most isolated man who's ever existed, he must use every skill at his disposal, every scrap of ingenuity, and even the most seemingly useless resource in order to keep himself alive long enough for someone to come and get him. And that's only if he's able to send a message through to Earth to let NASA know that he's alive. It's the equivalent of your parents forgetting to pick you up after soccer practice, except the soccer field is all of Mars. And instead of you being you, you're an astronaut who looks like Matt Damon. Okay, the good. You know what? Most of this stuff. Most of it's good. This movie has such incredible mass appeal. A lot of that hinging on the performance of Matt Damon just talking to himself. He's not the only one keeping this film propped up though. You've got Jessica Chastain, Jeff Daniels, Kristen Wiig, Donald Glover, Sean Bean, Kate Mara, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Metalal McGee, Michael Pena. It's a bloody who's who of people who have been in a Marvel movie. It's also one of those movies where there is a ton of special effects, but they're only used to enhance the storytelling, not drive it. Such as the Martian landscape, which is beautiful and sparse and just fascinating to be in. I can see though that some people might be put off by the 2-hour and 21-minute runtime, and with that being said, it does feel long, but it never drags. It doesn't always move at a breakneck pace, but there's always something going on to keep you hooked. A couple of Earth sequences maybe run a little long, especially considering the stuff on Mars is much more interesting, but that being said, who cares? This is definitely a return to form for Ridley Scott. Though I'd like to see him not botch the follow-up to Prometheus before saying that this guy is back for good. Because whilst this is well directed, the whole thing is propped up by the original story it's based on, the screenplay by Drew Goddard, the performances of all involved, and the convincingly futuristic, but not too futuristic world that everyone inhabits. And most of those things were in place long before Ridley Scott came on board very late in the game. So all in all, it gets a best movie ever. It's this year's Gravity, except it's better than Gravity. Because for some reason, I have higher tolerance for Matt Damon talking to himself in space than Sandra Bullock. Maybe it's because he swears more. I don't know. Thanks everyone. Now if you liked this, there's a couple of videos that I'll link at the end of this video and below that might interest you, along with my podcast, The Weekly Planet. This week we're covering The Martian. So if you want to hear a longer review of the film with me and another guy whose name isn't important, tune in on Monday. Me and that other guy would greatly appreciate it. But what did you think of The Martian? Do you think it'll become a sci-fi classic? Like that movie about apes and monoliths? Apoliths, I think it's called. If you do have any thoughts, please feel free to leave them below. Alright, thanks everyone. Take care.